the type of fights that sometimes in the past we've lost. Unbeaten champion against unbeaten champion. But Beterbiev and Bivol's a special fight, a special event.
For me, the best fight in boxing. I think, this one you don't have to sell to fight fans. They know. The educated fight fans, the casual fight fans, it doesn't really matter. The wider world need to know just how great this fight is. Two undefeated world champions, every belt in boxing on the line. The glory, the ownership of the light heavyweight division, it doesn't get any bigger.
Can you imagine, Ed, if they could trash talk?
Yeah, I think that it's kind of like you got two machines, haven't you? Some might say robots, but I've known Dimitri and represented him for many, many years. He's a man of few words, actually good character, quite amusing, but all business. Beterbiev, super cold. And actually, as he's got older, Beterbiev, he's talked less. I mean, the last press conference, imagine flying a guy over and about 8 members of his team, I don't know, spending about 50 bags. And then he rocks up on the table and you say, Otter, tell us what is going to happen in Riyadh. Nothing to say. Okay, thanks very much, mate. Your prediction for the fight? We shall see. Brilliant. Thanks for coming. And Dimitri, just with a couple more sentences, you're just not going to get these guys going at it. But when the bell rings, you can never be disappointed. Like, that's the key with this fight. There is no way this fight can be anything but compelling. And to be honest, they don't really need all that rubbish. They're two guys that are going to go about their business in a very cold fashion.
But there is a little bit of secret needle. I discovered that when Dimitri first went to the national squad, the superstar European world champion was Beterbiev, a few years older, and he looked up to him. So Dimitri told me that story. So then I asked Beterbiev about it, and he went, "No, I don't."
Yeah.
So there's a tiny little bit.
Well, let's play on that, Bunty. And
try to pull it out.
No, I mean, even if it's not true, let's just turn the screw on it and and actually let's add some elements to the story as well. I mean, I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but I actually heard that when they were on a training camp for Russian boxing, that Beterbiev nicked Bivol's lunch at one point as well. So it runs deep, and this goes back a long way.
That's the top of the bill, and it's a superb top of the bill. As you say, it's a fight for the ages. It's the type of fight that doesn't need selling. It's just absolutely brilliant. But the entire undercard's particularly attractive. I know Shakir Stevenson's no longer fighting Joe Cordina, but that undercard it's a very good undercard.
Very good. I mean, you look at the big heavyweight rematch, particularly with Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clark. The first one was a thriller. That's a fight that could headline the O2 Arena on its own. Chris Eubank, still one of the biggest stars in British boxing on the card. Jai Opetaia against Jack Massey. Great fight as well. Sky Nicholson against Raven Chapman, the first female world championship fight in Riyadh. It's another Matchroom v Queensbury. I mean, I don't know how many more of these we're going to do, but we need to win that one. And, so much more talent on the card as well. So, again, what we're seeing in these massive main events is undercards that, quite honestly, don't necessarily need to be in place because of the main event. But this is the stamp of Riyadh season, just consistently putting on incredible nights and incredible moments for the sport.
How important is it that we've got not just a women's fight on a bill in Saudi Arabia, but a really good one?
Yeah.
I mean, this is not just this is not a good champion against someone we've flown in from Argentina. This is a proper fight. Yeah,
and it's one that's been brewing for a while, and I think when you look at the featherweight division, I think this is probably, take Serrano out of the equation, who hasn't defended her belt for well over a year. This is the best fight in the division. And, it's really the crowning moment, I think, for both girls. Raven Chapman's looked fantastic. She's been Queensbury's first female fighter. We've invested in women's boxing for a long time. Sky Nicholson's hardly lost a round, boxed all over the world, won the world title, defended it. And I think needs tests like this. So I think this is a really, really good fight. And it's really great to see female boxing land in Riyadh. And I think it will be the first of many. I think these two girls will really open the door for women's world championship boxing in Riyadh.
They have a a lot of female amateur fighters.
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
Female judges, they're female referees. You know, there's this other side of
course.
boxing in Saudi. It isn't just our big events. They have this really thriving, ridiculous scene. It's busy.
But what's so important is for those people at grassroots to see the elite level and see the opportunities that are there for them. Do you know what I mean? If you're seeing really big activity for female boxing at grassroots level, you need to show them something. You need to say, look, we've got female boxing in Riyadh, a great world championship fight. We're already in talks. You know, we've got Sandy Ryan potentially against Chantel Cameron. That's another 5v5 matchup. Brilliant fight. So for me, this is going to be the one that opens the door to bring major female fights to Riyadh.
Now, I wasn't going to do it, but you've mentioned 5v5 and you mentioned the Queensbury and Matchroom thing. Yeah, so Sky and Raven, of course, I hadn't even thought about that. I hand on heart, I hadn't even thought about that until you mentioned it.
And also, coming up after that, we got Masood against Liam Davis. I mean, that not on a Riyadh season card. So the 5v5s kind of keep going outside. It'd be nice to win a couple, you know, and I'll be saying to Masood and Sky Nicholson, come on, about time, let's get a win. But the thing is every one of those fights is competitive. You know, it's a 50-50 or it's a 60-40 either way. Unfortunately, we keep losing the coin flips. But honestly, I don't mind because we're seeing brilliant fights and we're seeing our fighters get incredible opportunities. So the narrative of the Matchroom Queensbury is great. And, you know, next time we'll be picking very wisely in the 5v5 or 8v8 or 10v10 or whatever it'll end up being. And, you know, the sort of, you know, the cushioning of the blows of defeat makes me feel much better that we're actually making these fights. Because you look back a year, when would you ever seen? I mean, we've had what? I don't know, 8, 9 Matchroom v Queensbury fights in the last year, probably more. You just wouldn't see them. And it's brilliant for the sport.
It is. Ed, I've got to ask you about the weekend, Wembley. AJ losing in the 5th round to Dubois. Dubois winning in the 5th round against AJ. A spectacular event on every front, on all fronts. It was a special night.
Yeah, I mean, again, you know, the cushioning of the blow of AJ's defeat was what a night, what a thrill, what a shot in the arm for British boxing. It was much needed. And AJ was the guy to provide that. You know, I keep seeing people say, oh, you know, Dubois was disrespected as champion and this and that. Look, AJ made that happen. Dubois was outstanding. And we keep talking about how poor AJ was. Let's give a minute to say how good Daniel Dubois was. He did everything that they planned to do. And AJ did nothing they planned to do. You know, and the first round gets caught by a right hand that would have stopped most heavyweights, gets up, battered in the second round, battered in the third round, holds on for dear life. I don't know how he stayed in the fight. 4th round, you know, starts to find his legs a little bit, hits Dubois with 1 or 2 good shots. 5th round, you know, you've seen the now infamous corner talk. He's up for it. He's ready to go to the trenches like he did and hurt Dubois, went in for the kill and got chinned in the process. But I said to him, like, you tried to win the fight. Even when you had no legs, you tried to win the fight. And that's called a warrior. So for me, hats off to you, son. You know, I'm more proud of you tonight than I've been in any night of your career, because in the midst of the madness, 98,000 people, and you are struggling to stand up, you're holding on for dear life, but you're still trying to win. That is the real, you know, test of a champion. And you lost tonight. You didn't perform, but you were beaten by the better man, and that's high-level sport.
And in all fairness, AJ said all of those things, not as excuses, just as points of fact. It seems absolutely certain he'll continue. Was there ever any doubt in your mind between the fight ending and speaking with AJ 25 minutes in his dressing room?
You know, I think it's the conversations you have after. You know, like I spoke to his team leading up to the fight, Ben and Lee, and you know, I say to them, be honest. How's camp gone? Because the answer to you and all the media is always, had a great camp, etc. And the answer before the fight was, camp's gone great, sparred brilliant, we'll win this fight, we fancy it early. You know, that was just, and if the answer would have been, not great, hasn't looked very sharp in sparring, you know, got hurt a couple of times, a lot of niggles, then you start to think, well, actually, and then the performance deteriorates, and are we on the slide? for me, the key is how he looks in the gym. Now, if he returns back to the gym in a month's time and doesn't look himself and isn't got his timing in sparring and, does get hurt in sparring, that's actually something you got to look at. He's very sharp, very bright, AJ. He said to me the other day, I'm so hungry to continue. Like, I'm excited. He said, people keep talking about me retiring, blah, blah, blah. And he said to me, but I'm always going to want to fight, don't you? I said, yeah. He says, like, I want to hear from you, and he'll want to hear from other, like, if you ever feel that it's time, don't be afraid to let me know, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? And I said, mate, I'll be the first person to tell you that's enough. But when you've looked as good as you've looked, the camp's gone as good as it has, you've sparred as well as you have, we put it down to a bad performance. And we put it down to a great performance from Daniel Dubois. That's it. And it's the first time he's been involved in a fight like that. It's the first time he's been knocked out. 13 world title fights. And in a weird way, he quite enjoyed the war, and I think he's learned a lot from it and, wants to come back better than ever.
If you were planning an ideal comeback, Ed, what would it be? In an ideal world, what would you do with AJ the next fight or two?
So when you look back at his defeats, we've always jumped straight back in, when he lost to Andy Ruiz, everyone said, whatever you do not fight Ruiz straight away. Come back, have a 10-rounder, blah, blah, blah. AJ went, absolutely no chance. I should have beaten Ruiz. I can beat Ruiz. Let me rematch him. Okay. Goes out, wins every round. Usyk. A lot of people saying we shouldn't have fought him in the first place. Look, AJ, you got well beat there. I know it's a shot at the world heavyweight title again, but no, I'm rematching Usyk. Okay. Performed much better, but didn't win. Now, we feel that we should be beating Daniel Dubois, and we can beat Daniel Dubois. But are you ready to go straight back in with him? We have that option under our contract. I know that His Excellency wants the immediate rematch. Probably February time. Is that too early? Is there a spot later? We know that Riyadh season finishes at the end of February, early March. Do we wait for Tyson Fury? If Tyson Fury loses, I think AJ and Fury should have 2 fights and sail off into the sunset. If Tyson Fury wins, he defends against AJ for the unified World Heavyweight Championship. So we get another crack at the title there as well. In AJ's mind, he'll want to go straight back in with Dubois. I know what he's like. But this is a very important decision. And we are, 3 days after the fact? So, as I said to everybody, including His Excellency, chill. Let's just give us a little bit of time. Get the hands checked, get the scans, as AJ does, goes into this big sort of health analysis after every fight. Make sure we're 100%, and then make a decision for what will be the closing chapter of your career. I said to him, you've got between 1 and 3 fights left. And the phone went very quiet. And it was the realisation that we're on the home straight. So hopefully the final chapter can be the best yet.